The stories you tell yourself about your body. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. This show is proudly sponsored by Rumble and Rise. To find out more about joining Rumble and Rise, head on over to graceandgrit.com/ready to rumble. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. There's a woman I worked with years ago who had literally spent 30 years saying, I've always had a slow metabolism. She repeated it so often, it became gospel. And one day I just poked at that belief and I said, who told you that? Like, where did you learn that? Where does that come from? And she looked at me and she said, I think I just decided it when I was like 25 because I was starting to notice that my weight didn't come off as easily as it did when I was 18. That story, that single sentence, had shaped 3 decades of choices. So it excused skipped workouts. It justified restrictive diets, even though they never worked. And it whispered in her ear every time she looked at herself in the mirror. And the truth is, the real truth, is that the stories you tell yourself about your body, the stories you tell yourself about your life, they are not facts. They're narratives that you have constructed, often from outdated information, old wounds, or very often, someone else's voice that got stuck in your head. So I often tell the story of a teacher that I had in high school that told me I would never be able to work for myself because I always needed so much direction in terms of instructions on how to do something. And man, did I carry that with me for a really long time, which of course prevented me from really fully going out on my own. And once I started poking holes in my story, as Brené Brown so beautifully says, I started realizing that, first of all, it's not true. And second of all, it's not serving me. So why would I continue to think it? Now, you may not have the thought in your head that you've always had a slow metabolism, but I bet you have something similar. Maybe it's that you're not athletic, that you can't learn how to lift weights at your age, that your body doesn't respond to exercise, right? These aren't truths. They're scripts. They're scripts that you wrote at some point along your lifeline and never questioned, and therefore never put in the dumpster to have them set on fire, which they need to be. The beautiful news is scripts can be rewritten. And I highly recommend you do that work where it needs to be done, because the tape that's playing in your head will govern your life. It will govern your choices. So this is where people often ask, well, how the heck do I get started doing that work? Now, my clients and my community members will tell you that one of the practices I am a very strong advocate for is what's called a brain dump. A brain dump is simply putting pen to page for 3 to 5 minutes and exposing the thoughts that you have, specifically in areas that you feel stuck in, that you're frustrated in, that you feel disappointed in. And the whole point of the exercise is to start exposing your thoughts, revealing the quality of your thoughts. And a lot of people think they can just think their way through this work. But you can't, because so much of your thinking is subconscious. So you can't access that just by thinking. You have to put pen to page, which allows us to access more of our unconscious thinking. But there are tapes that have been playing in your head on repeat for an awfully long time. And when you start exposing your thoughts, you want to start asking yourself, is this absolutely true? Where did I learn this? Is it serving me now? And so often you will find that the answer is no. And again, no reason to judge or berate yourself. But isn't it interesting? And what are you going to do about it now that you've exposed it? I have, for a very long time on this show, and forever until the day that I die, will be saying that your body is not the problem. Your body has never been the problem. But the stories that you tell yourself about your body and about your life absolutely can be the problem. And again, you are the author. You can pick up a pen at any time and write a new chapter about your body, about anything in your life. And you basically curate new thoughts to think. You decide what you want to believe moving forward. And I highly suggest you make it something that is useful to you, that helps you to show up in the way that you want to show up. Write a new chapter based on your body being capable and resilient and worthy of care. Not someday, but today. It is some of the most important work you will ever do along your health journey. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, a Midlife Woman's Guide to Deep Health and Happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.